Hello and welcome to Turn 1 Soul Ring. It's time to get sneaky and stealthy here on So You're Building, and there's no better commander to do that with than Yuriko, the Tiger Shadow. Let's go! Making her debut this year in the Subjective Reality deck, Yuriko has definitely shot up in popularity, thanks to Wizards finally answering our prayers for a ninjutsu commander. So, we need to focus on getting an unblockable damage so our ninjas can use substitution jutsu and do fun things. So, let's find some good ninjas, starting off with Higure, the Still Wind, who allows us to tutor for our other ninjas, which is very nice for us. An additional bonus is that he can make all of our ninjas unblockable, which is very good, and he combos with a card that we'll see later. Another ninja to consider is Ingai's, Servant of Oni. A good 5/4 attacker, not only can we regenerate him, but we also get to steal creatures from our opponent's graveyard, which is bonkers. My personal favorite ninja is Silent Blade Oni, who is the most expensive ninja in terms of mana, but he is very much worth it, essentially letting us steal a card from our opponent's hand. That's even more awesome than Inkai's ability, in my opinion. Silent Blade goes very well with Walker of Secret Ways, who lets us look at our opponent's hand so we get a preview of what we'll steal with Silent Blade. She also gets our ninjas back into our hand, protecting them from removal and letting us get their abilities again. The final ninja to definitely pay attention to is Sakashima's Student, who has one of the cheapest ninjutsu costs and enters as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. Imagine copying your opponent's big creature and turning a small amount of damage into a huge load of unblockable damage swinging right at their face. Other creatures that we should be focused on are creatures that are very cheap and have the words "can't be blocked" on them. These are very easy to find and are often in blue. A good planeswalker to consider is Mu Yanling. She gives something unblockable, gives us card draw, and can essentially give us a game winner with her ultimate. And she's only $6. Shifting away from permanents for a hot minute, let's look at instants and sorceries. Yuriko's ability lets us do damage based on the CMC of the top card of our deck, so let's focus on some high-costing cards, starting with Dig Through Time, which is really good for getting cards we need into our hand, and is 8 mana. Then Treasure Cruise, which is also 8 mana and card draw for us. Temporal Trespass, which is 11 mana and lets us take an extra turn. Temporal Mastery, which is 7 mana and even more extra turns. Devastation Tide, which is a decent blue field wipe and 5 mana, Karn's Temporal Sundering, which is even more extra turns and 6 mana, and finally, In Garrick's Wake, which is a 9 mana way of saying, I don't like your creatures and planeswalkers. 3 other cards to consider with this strategy are the Aftermath cards from the Amonkhet block, where you combine the CMC of the 2 pieces to get the full CMC of the card, so Step Right Up, Commit to Memory, a whopping 10 CMC, good removal, and a nice way of dealing with mill decks. Consign to Oblivion, a 7 mana card letting us bounce something and then hand attack our opponent, and Rags to Riches, another 11 mana card that is a light field wipe and lets us steal our opponent's creatures. A good card to help us set up this strategy is Mystical Tutor, which allows us to put one of these on top of our deck, and then let us reveal it with Yuriko and then get in with some massive amount of damage. Definitely consider putting it in here. Now, back to permanents, let's look at artifacts. Cards to consider here are Whisper Silk Cloak, giving us something unblockable, potentially a ninja, Quietus Spike, turning one of our smaller unblockable creatures into a bigger threat that will have our opponent scrambling to throw answers at, Key to the City, another source of unblockable for us, and Crystal Ball, because Scry works very well with Yuriko's ability. Enchantments for this deck are pretty freaking sweet. Starting with a really good one, Conspiracy, which, when combined with Higure, the Still Wind, lets us search our library for any creature that we want to, which is awesome. Coastal Piracy gives us very necessary card draw, which is great. Cover of Darkness gives us a pseudo-unblockable and a way to get around non-black decks, and Aqueous Form, a highly underrated card which is killer for this deck, giving us unblockable and scry. A quick note before I conclude, most of the creatures you need for this deck can be found in the Plane Chase Anthology, so if you get your hands on it, it will give you all of the ninjas you need to get started, as well as some good unblockable pieces. It also gives you Plane Chase, which makes Commander games a lot more fun, especially if you play Eternity's map. And that was So You're Building for Yuriko the Tiger Shadow. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and if you want to help support the channel, subscribe down below and make sure to hit that bell so you know when the next Turn 1 Sol Ring video is uploaded. And, as always, have a great one.